Samir, you had a question?
No questions, I don't think, Samael.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
trying to record it now. I think I clicked the record button. If yeah, it should be recording. So there's a transcript as well for everybody, just to let everyone know.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so as we move forward, so first things first is we want to make our idea clear about what is a resume actually. Uh, can somebody write in the chat that what you think of what a resume is? Just anything that comes to your mind when you think of a resume. Piece of paper with my work experience on. An advertisement for yourself. Very good. Yes. Yes. Anyone else? A summary of your experience, skill, education that would be helpful for an employer. Yes, exactly. Thank you everyone for your inputs. Yes, exactly. This is the resume is all those things and more. So a resume is basically your first and most important interaction with your potential future employer or the dream job that you are looking for. Think of it of as this way, like you are applying to all these companies, Microsoft, Google, Verafin, but when you are a new graduate, there's a high chance that like nobody knows you there, but you are trying to get into that company, and this piece of paper, one page of paper or couple of pages is your only chance or the first chance to make a impression on the recruiter and on the company. So yes, it's a piece of paper with a lot of information in it, which happens to be one of the most important papers, important important papers that you will be making in your lives. So as we move forward, so and now we know what is a resume, but do we know what is a modern resume? Because like I said, technology has come so far. So the primitive ways of writing resumes will not necessarily work in 2024. So to talk about what is a modern resume, it's basically if your resume is applicant tracking system or ATS friendly, then we can call it a modern resume. Now you might ask like, what is an ATS friendly resume? Or what's an ATS? So an ATS basically what it says, it's an applicant tracking system. It tracks the applicants. So, and it also filters applicants and finds out the best potential matches for that company or for the job. We all know like how AI has come so far in like now at this point in 2024, and it's only natural that companies will be using AI for recruitment as well. Whereas like for one position, they get hundreds of applicants, and from those 100 to filter it down to top five, uh, they are going to use the AI to help them out with that. So to crack that opening for your dream job, your resume has to be a modern resume, and it has to be ATS friendly so that you can cross the first barrier to an interview. So, any questions on ATS at this moment? Any questions on the applicant tracking system? Okay, sounds good. So we move forward. And by the way, like these are some scary words. You might find them scary or like to like they may feel like a jargon, but don't worry about it too much. It's really great that you are taking in this information at this moment, so you have some idea that what's going on around the job market at this moment. And as you go forward in your life, you will learn more about those things as you do, as you graduate high school, as you go into a college or a university. You will here and there will pick up more information about that. So don't get overwhelmed, don't get scared. These are the things that are just out there, and you will learn slowly, day by day, a lot more about those things as you go forward in your life. So moving on, I'm going to show you an example of example resume that is a good example of a ATS friendly resume. And the logos that you are seeing in this slide is that resume was able to get interview calls from all of these great Newfoundland and Canadian companies. So I'm going to pull up that resume at this moment to show you an example of ATS friendly resume.
While you're doing that, Samael, question in the chat from Noah, will we learn how to make an ATS-friendly resume? I think yes. I think that's what Samael's
Yes.
going to lead us through today,
Yes.
how to do that. And I'll just be around on the side. Samael will throw to me with any questions, and I'll be able to answer any from my experience working with HR leaders at the tech companies here in the province.
Yes.
So, Samael, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Liam. Yeah, we will definitely learn or at least get some more information on how we can make our resumes ATS friendly. And yeah, and we have Liam with us. He goes through a lot of resumes, like modern resumes, and you'll learn a lot about this ATS thing in in here today. So can everybody see my screen now? Yes. So if I
Yep.
pull up, so yeah, as you can see, like this is actually my resume. Why I had to pull it up because this resume has gone through so many changes, and finally, when I got to learn about this ATS thing, and I made those specific changes in my resume, I started to get those like great interview calls from those big corporations and say the companies where I would like to work at. So I'm just showing you the example of my resume. So when you see this resume, it's a very normal, it's a pretty normal resume. There is no graphics in it, just plain uh, plain structure, nothing else, no sections, no columns, no tables. So uh, so why it is a good example of a resume is uh, I'm gonna move on to the slide, and I'm gonna talk to you a bit more on that. So it's it's easy to read by the AI and it's not columned. What I mean by that is uh, what I mean by that is this resume has only one, like it has a top down approach. You start from the top, you go to the end. So what do I mean by column? To say more on that is, as you can see, this resume, it has two columns. Yeah, she made very good use of the of her real estate over here. Spacings are good, the design is very good, but when the ATS goes to read this resume, what the AI will do is it will mix the wordings on the left side with the wordings on the right side. For example, when it's scanning your resume, it will go like graphic and web designer, job title, company name, address, street line, city, state, 2005, 2012. So it will, at the end, it will not make any sense because these ATS systems, they tend to read from left to right. But Whereas in this case, in this example, the ATS can easily read from left to right without having gaps in information. So that's why this is that resume was called a good example of a ATS friendly resume, and because of it was not section like columns, it didn't have any unnecessary graphics. Unnecessary graphics, they always mess up with the AI. AI tends to fail when it's trying to it tries to get information from the graphics as well. So it kind of messes up with the AI when you have graphics in there as well. So modern resumes are basically very plain resumes from where your potential employer will get all the information they need under 10 seconds. And another thing is that that resume has matched keywords with the job that I was applying for at that moment. More on that later. And if I pull up the resume again, you'll see that like it's easy to read. Like you have, as a person goes through this resume, they don't have to squint. They just go through and they will see all the informations that are on there. There are good headers, there are references made, then there are bullet points that explains the project. So not too much information, not too little information. That's it. And the best thing is that a person, when looking at that resume, they can get the information, all of the information that consists in that resume under 10 seconds. So moving forward, so if you wanted to build a ATS friendly resume like that, what the things that you need to do is first you should think about what should you include in your resume. And when you think of that, always remember that less is more, ideally just 5 to 6 sections. So resumes are section wise. So say this part is a section. It's one section, it's your personal information. Then you have one of your objective section. By reading that, the employer would get idea, they get your idea at a glance at what you are trying to accomplish here. Then you give your education information that goes to another section. So we are calling each of these one section. We're calling each of these sections, and ideally your resume should have 5 to 6 sections, not more than that. And those sections should be your personal information and objective section, your educational background, your summary of skill sets. If you have a summary of skill sets in your resume like this, the employer can at a glance understand like what are the things that you have been working with so far and you have touched on and you have experience on. And after all of these sections comes the most important part, that is your most valuable experiences so far. You want to show off yourself to the employer that about the things you have done, about the experiences you have gained so far. So the last and the fifth section is going to be the longest section in your resume, and it's going to be the most important one. So if you think about like what could you include in your most valuable experience, so things like class projects, personal projects, activities that show teamwork, volunteering experience, and yes, internship experience. These things will go into your most valuable experience thing. And when you are including those experiences in your resume, make sure that you are aligning the above experience with the job that you are applying to. So
Samael, there's a couple questions there in the chat.
yeah.
And I had one about the objective statement as well.
Okay, yeah, sure. Sorry, I only have one screen here, so I'm not seeing the questions over here. Thank you so much for reminding me.
No
Uh,
problem.
Columns for my human side, but when I think of AI, something you have to explain.
While you're
Yeah,
reading those, Samael,
yeah,
I can just elaborate on my answers. So the first question, would it be beneficial to have both? I definitely think it would be. In my experience working with the companies here, uh, the technology companies that you're all employed with, et cetera, none of the companies here are using AI-based ATSs to filter out resumes, because they're not typically large enough to really need that.
hmm,
Um, but companies that are more national or global, thinking Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, these sorts of tech companies, they absolutely will be using systems like
yeah,
this. But the companies locally, they're going to, a human will be reviewing every single resume that comes in. They won't be spending very long on it, which I'm sure we'll talk about later.
yeah.
But uh, it'll go beyond AI. So yeah, that first question from Noah Samail. Anything else to add there?
No, no, that's actually, yeah, no, that answered the question. And
I'll add that ATS doesn't necessarily mean AI, right? Like an
yeah,
ATS could just be a system where the employers are gathering all the applicants that have applied, and then they can search for keywords themselves or search for certain skills or certain education backgrounds. So it might not be AI filtering, but it's still important to include those like keywords and make sure that they align with what the job is asking.
yes, definitely. Good information. So should a cover letter always be submitted alongside a resume? Uh, yes, exactly. Like Liam said, if there is a space to upload one, you absolutely should. Otherwise, up to, in my experience, employers care much more about resumes and cover letters. So focus their time. Yes. So if the company or the organization asks for a cover letter, definitely upload it. And if they have space to upload one, yes, definitely. And if my approach was, if they're not explicitly saying you don't need to submit a cover letter, then you should submit a cover letter. If they're saying not to submit explicitly, then you don't submit. But if there is nothing said like that, you definitely should include a cover letter with your resume.
Yeah, I agree,
Uh,
Samail. And just to add there, talking with employers here, so this is specific to tech companies. This is going to change
mhm.
based on the industry. But a lot of the HR folks with the tech companies have explicitly told me they do not like cover letters, which was
Okay.
very surprising to me. I was kind of shocked to hear that because they're HR people. They look at this all the time. And the way they told me they evaluated applications was they'd start with someone's resume, they'd read that first, then they'd go to their LinkedIn page. This is, of course, for typically not high school students, but LinkedIn would
Yeah.
be the secondary level of evaluation. If someone was a
Uh-huh.
software developer, they may look at a GitHub or a portfolio as well, and then they would check the cover letter, sort of as a final measure to confirm someone was interesting to them. So from my experience, short cover letters are very cool. People really appreciate it when it's not a full page in length. So don't spend too much time on your cover letter. But if there is a space to include it, you definitely should.
Exactly.
Liam, can you name drop some companies that you work with and that you've heard from?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to share a link later. We've recorded a number of sessions about resumes previously that we've hosted for our post-secondary student membership. And in those sessions, there's HR people from MISA, Carnegie Learning, and Nameco. I think maybe Verifin if Carrie was there, but these are all companies that we've worked with. You know, Verifin, MISA, Colab are some of our biggest champions in the HR space. They give us advice all the time about what they like to see and what they don't. Um, and these are the ones who, no one specifically, I won't say who dislikes and who likes cover letters because I don't think, I think that's more of an individual take than the company-wide take for them. But yeah, these are the people who we talk to and we work with all the time. And they're lovely, wonderful HR people. If you ever get a chance to chat with any of them, I'm sure they will be wonderful to deal with. And hopefully some of you do in the future.
Awesome. Thanks so much for all this information, Liam. Yeah, Liam definitely has a lot of insights and the insider info in the Newfoundland companies. Yes, Duke. Yes. Yes, Samiran, but like do make sure and that if they're asking for a cover letter, do make sure that you are submitting one though. Yeah. What do you mean, Susan? Softy? I love cover letters, but I was.
Oh, I like to get to know people and see their writing style and everything, but I'm not hiring at tech companies, so don't listen to me.
Cover letters can be so a lot of them will be written off a template and they'll sound the same anyway, right? Like if someone's trying to read 100 of them, they simply won't because they can't spend the time doing that. So if you have a shorter cover letter that's already going to hopefully be something more unique, uh, and also, I'm going to recommend you customize your resume for the job anyway. So I would spend the
Yes.
time customizing your resume slightly for the job and having a bit of a simpler cover letter that just focuses more on your personality than anything else.
Yeah, that's actually one of the important points that you should definitely write down is one resume will not fit all of the companies. And one resume will definitely not fit all of the job positions that you are applying to. So, like I said, resume is one of the most important things that your employer will see before hiring you. So, do invest a bit of time into that, and you make sure that you tailor your resume according to the position and the company that you are applying to. Mhm. Okay, so moving along. So, if you ask like, how can can you all see my screen?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So if you're thinking about like how can you align your experience with the job that you are applying to, it's mainly it is brainstorming. So first of all, spend some time understanding the job post. If you keep quickly applying to jobs like 5, 10 jobs a day, that's probably not gonna take you anywhere. But if you invest proper time, sit down and say you apply 2 jobs each day or one job each day, but that you have properly applied to, that will be more beneficial to you than applying 100 jobs every day. So spend some time understanding the job post, brainstorm on how the task relate to your experience, the task that they are asking from you, how you have done it in your past. Spend some time and brainstorm on that. And when you are reading the job post, like if you see something that you don't know about, but if you are confident that you can learn them given the opportunity, uh, do definitely apply to them. Not like, yes, the job posting will ask a lot of things from you, but not everyone knows a lot of things. The companies know that too. But what's important is that do you have the ability to learn new things? And I can definitely vouch for you, these 36 people that we have in this internship group, that yes, you can. If you think about this, when you were in grade 7, we didn't know what was going on in grade 8. But when you came to grade 8, you learned the things of grade 8, then you have moved along to grade 9. So you have the ability to learn new things. So if you see something that you don't know about, but you're confident that you can learn it and apply it to your job, yes, definitely apply it for that position. And when you are writing those bullet points in your resume, try to use the STAR method. So this STAR method is called it is basically a situation, task, action, and result. So try to explain in your resume, like what was the situation that you were put into, and what were the tasks that you had to do. Then what actions did you take to complete those tasks, and what were the results, the outcomes. So if you use the STAR method in writing your resume in the bullet points, they would be on point, and the employers will have a very good idea of what you accomplished in the past. And match your resume's bullet points with the job description keywords, very important. So if you are applying to a software developer position, or if you're applying to a marketing position, include the experiences that you have in marketing. Then that will help match the keywords more than just a general resume that you're applying with. Uh, Anybody have any questions so far?
Samael, not sure if you're going to mention it, but in my experience, in my conversations, the HR folks, they love bullet points.
Yeah.
Any and all opportunities to shorten things into bullet points rather than paragraphs is greatly
Yeah.
appreciated, so they can digest the information faster. And they also
Mhm.
mentioned, I say a maximum of 3 bullets per work experience / education.
Yeah.
So under job title, if I had, uh, chef at Donati's Pizza, I would have 3 bullet points under that, right?
Yeah.
At a maximum.
Yeah.
I say 3 as a maximum because I know people are going to go over, and the real maximum is 5. But try to keep your bullet points small, under each work experience, and only elaborate when it's incredibly relevant to the job.
Yes, yes, definitely. Those are some very good points that you should note down, that bullet points are the best way to go, but less is more always. Try to keep it to three, four, like Leon said, five at max. But if the task is directly related to the position that you're applying to, yes, you can play around with the bullet points a bit more to match more keywords with the job position. So, uh, moving along, uh, uh, did anyone had any questions so far? Mhm. Okay, so we go on. Uh, so I'm going to show you an example scenario. Say you are applying to Verafin for a software developer position. So what experiences or what are some of the things you should include in the resume? You should include your 2 or 3 most valuable software development projects that you have done. I'm thinking that you are a new graduate, you're applying for an entry level position, so your projects are gonna be your best uh, best weapons. So say you should include your 2, 3 most valuable software development projects since you're applying for a software developer position. Uh, you should definitely include internship experiences if you have any. In this case, you all have, so that's a big plus. Um, the projects, they don't have to be huge projects necessarily, but if they're huge, that's good. But they should be the projects that you are proud of and that you can explain inside out. You can explain the projects, how it started, what you did, and if the recruiter raises any question about some of the aspects of that project, you're ready to explain that, and you have the knowledge of the task. So you should know your project inside out, the projects that you're putting on into your resume. So this is just an example for a software developer position, but it's the same thing will apply to any job you are applying to, marketing, business, anywhere. Uh, Moving forward, uh, one important tip, like, don't include irrelevant information in your resume. For example, so this is a person's resume who were applying to software development roles. So if you see this resume, what's wrong with it? Can somebody tell me like what's wrong with this resume applying to a software development positions? Don't slowly scroll. Can can you write in the chat what you think that this resume might be doing wrong while applying for software development positions? Yes, Samiran, you are exactly on point that they didn't put enough emphasis on their projects. So if I, yes, Susan, you're right too. So this person is a imaginary person. It's not real. Uh, so they are applying to software development positions. Yes, they have their objective section on top. Yes, this doesn't have any unnecessary sections or graphics, but they say it's a summary of skills, but whereas it's basically a paragraph with a lot of bullet points, and the recruiters will not be get enough information out of it under 10 seconds. And he has his professional experiences over there, but he has his sales merchandiser and grocery associate experience, which is not relevant to the software development positions. Whereas the things that would be more relevant to his software development role is that he has a computer science and engineering degree. He also has a computer software and database management postgraduate diploma. He has projects on doing on like coding travel agency websites. He has like these software projects. They didn't explain enough on them. It just consists of one bullet point, and it's so far down the like it's almost at the bottom of the resume, which makes the project information irrelevant. And the recruiter hiring for the software development position will only get so little information from this resume, and hence it's not a very good example of a resume who is trying to get a software development position in a company. Yes, Robin, you're right too. Uh, so you don't put any irrelevant information. Yes, you were a grocery associate, you were a sales merchandiser. Those are good experiences. But if you're applying to, say, retail, Walmart, Winners, yes, definitely include those informations. But if you're applying to uh, Carnegie Learning as a web developer, then the recruiter will not get much information about your background when they see that you are a sales merchandiser at Walmart. So keeping it relevant is very important. Uh, moving along, and we're almost at the end. So, how many pages should my resume be? That's a question everyone asks, and this question actually doesn't have a solid answer. To be honest, I was talking with I was talking with the CEO of a software company, and the other day they they told me they don't take in any resume that is more than a page long. They just discard those resumes that are like more than a page. Then I have talked with some other CEOs, and I have seen people working at Verafin who had resumes who are 3 pages long and still got hired. So it kind of depends on the situation. So early in your career, where you need to show all of your experiences and all your enthusiasm to get into the market, uh, in that case, you can keep the resume, I would say up to 2 pages, but do use all the page as much as you can. So in the entry level jobs and early in your career, it probably doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that much. But once you have gained so much experience that you can put your main and most valuable experiences in one section, and the recruiter will get the idea of who you are. From there, you can keep it a page long, and that will do the job. And
Samael,
yes,
oh, oh, perfect. You're right at the end. But let me just elaborate on that too.
yeah,
When we've talked to employers about resumes specifically, we've asked, okay, how many pages is good? And we'll say
yeah,
one, and everyone will say yes. Two, most people will say yes, that's perfectly fine. Three and above, they simply it doesn't matter.
nah,
And what all of them told me is that you can have a two-page resume, that's perfectly fine, but
yeah,
never expect that everyone seeing your resume will read more than one page.
yes,
So the most critical information that you want the employer to be reading needs to be on the first page, ideally in bullet points at the top, in a summary section as you had Samael, or it could be highlights or something like that. Uh, like don't anticipate that everyone looking at your resume will read the second page. I've seen resumes 11 pages long, 10 pages long, just unbelievable things, and they'll ask me for feedback and they'll say, "Oh yeah, no, I did that. It's on page 8." I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry, I blacked out at page 4. I couldn't keep going." And that's what every HR person is going to say. And I also really liked Susan's question in the chat. So if people could take a look at that, and Samael, if you had any thoughts, that would be awesome.
uh, question for the group: how could you include experience as a sales associate in a way that is relevant for a technical job? That is actually a good question. So, say you were a sales associate, but you did use technology on your day-to-day activities while working in the sales profession. Maybe you have worked with their like logistics tracking system, or like with their uh, warehouse tracking system, stuff like that. And you find a company who is working with the same software or with the same type of things. So in that sense, you can align your sales experience with that tech job. What do you think, Liam?
Yeah, I thought Robin's answer was a good one, and especially I'll give my sort of key takeaways from the end of this, but any work that you do or any volunteering that you do is an opportunity for you to set yourself apart. So the things that you want to highlight are the things that when you do that job, they're unique to you and that job. So it's not necessarily just stock shelves or whatever. You can include that if you want, but the things that you did that you felt were unique. And if someone reads it, they'll say, okay, that person, I'm going to remember that person now. Susan?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, what do you learn from the tasks instead of what were the tasks, right? If you were stocking shelves, what did you learn from that experience, and how is it going to help you in the future? So, like, a lot of people don't think about technical jobs being very teamwork based or collaborative, but they 100% are. You have to work with a team. In almost every work scenario, you are forced to work with people you don't know, who maybe you have conflicts with or you don't have anything in common with. So, how are you learning in like a retail space to work with people, or your customer service skills? Like, think about how those skills could be helpful to an employer to know, like, oh, okay, they're willing to work past personal conflicts, or they're willing to communicate with people when they don't understand what's needed from them. So if you think about trying to, instead of just saying, I serve customers and stock shelves, think about what you actually gain from that experience and how it could apply to the position.
That is actually a very good answer. And yes, no matter where we work, we always learn some transferable skills. Say you are working at Tim Hortons, you are making coffees. Yes, uh, the amount of logistics and management it takes to serve every guest under 30 seconds or under a minute, it's unimaginable. So, and it needs teamwork. So no matter where you work, you definitely take in some transferable skills that you can apply to the next job, like teamwork, working past the conflicts. Like, yes, so if you're working as a sales merchandiser and you want to apply the software development position, you can definitely transfer your teamwork skills to that role, definitely. So uh, that was it actually from my part, and I would now hand over the mic to Liam and see what well, and gain some more information from Liam since he has a lot of experience seeing, reviewing resumes. Liam.
Yeah, thank you, Samael. And also round of applause to you. Great job. I think all the stats and info you shared are very important and very relevant to everybody. And again, like what I'm going to talk about is pretty relevant to tech, but a lot of what Samael just mentioned is relevant to any job you're applying to. You know, if you're applying to be a tree planter in BC over next summer. Like all of this is going to be relevant because you just need your resume to line up with what's going on. The first thing I'm going to do is in the chat. I just shared a link to a YouTube playlist. I don't know if it's going to work, but hopefully it does. I just put together a playlist of all the videos that we of TechNL have recorded. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Robin. TechNL, we've done a number of sessions over the years that are relevant to especially post-secondary students, resumes, and LinkedIn pages. So these are all a bunch of the workshops that we've done, and you'll get to hear people from, Carnegie Learning, CoLab, MISA, reviewing resumes in real time and giving their feedback, what they like, what they don't. So I'm just going to try to echo what they say, but if you want to hear it straight from I don't want to say my friends, my top 5 things that I will recommend uh, that you do when you're doing these resumes. One of them was no more than 2 pages. That was a big recommendation for me. And Samalia's okay. There you go. Perfect. No more than 2 pages. I think 1 page is probably perfect. 2 pages is the maximum. Anything you want read should be on the first page. 3 most critical bullets at the top in a summary section. So Samael's resume, the one feedback I'd give to you, Samael, is to turn that summary section into bullet points so that someone can read that section in 10 seconds. And they can say, oh, okay, I need this tech stack. I need someone who knows how to use AWS Lambda or can work with Python. Oh, it says Python there. And they'll take that away with them as they evaluate. The third point I have is uniqueness compared to your peers. So if all you folks are high school students and you're not all competing against each other necessarily, but you are likely competing against other high school students, correct? If you can share things that are unique to you, that will help you stand out, regardless of how relevant you think they are to the job. So someone mentioned in the chat their first aid certification. That's fantastic. Also elaborate on what you got that certification for. If it's camp counselor, if it's babysitting, all of these things are relevant and will help you stand out compared to your peers. If you only include school-based projects and other things like that, that won't help you stand out, including this program on your resume that you're doing right now. This is going to really help you stand out compared to lots of other people. So also shout out to Susan and Smail for that. But just constantly be thinking about, okay, I want this resume to reflect a bit about who I am as a person. I know it can be hard to do that on a sheet of paper, but that's where the uniqueness comes in. Make sure there's something that no one else is going to have on their resume. Fourth point, 3 bullets under each experience max. We already went over that, so I'm ahead of the game already. And the fifth point, customize your resume for the job using the language in the job ad. So Samail had that in the presentation as well. The job ads have all the information that you should need to apply. So don't be afraid to copy and paste words out of that job ad and put it right in your resume. Now, whole sentences taken whole cloth, it's like, oh, I'm looking for someone who can navigate tough situations and work with a team. And then you say you can navigate tough situations and work with a team. Just reword it. but use that language, use the language the employer is giving you. Um, that's awesome. And Sky, there you go. Like that mental health course seems really interesting. A certificate in that would help you stand out, and especially if you can explain in a very concise way why you did it. So in doing a mental health course, maybe you were doing it for a program, maybe you're doing something else, maybe you're just passionate about the space. I don't know. But this is something that you can definitely look into. So those are the big five for me. We went over all of them and I sent you the playlist. Though the people in the playlist, you'll see me a lot, unfortunately, but there's experts from all these companies who will give you lots and lots of feedback. And that's everything I want to say. So in the last 4 minutes, did anyone have any additional questions for myself, Samael, Susan, Duke Sandos? People are very passionate about this program you did, Sky. You're really going to have to elaborate on that. Susan, anything that wasn't mentioned today that you'd want to throw out there?
Yeah, have fun with it. Just like try to be yourself, like Liam said. It's awkward and weird to like write down all your accomplishments in a way that's going to be interesting for somebody else. But I mean, you're applying for a job, so have the confidence that you should have when you're applying for a job. I always say it's the employer's job to not choose you, right? Don't not choose yourself, right? If you're looking at a job and saying, oh, I don't really think I can do it, or I don't think I have the right experience, let the employer decide that you don't have the right experience. You never know what they could be looking for. Again, they might be looking for another position that you would be a good fit for, or maybe you do have the experience and you just don't have the confidence. So, yeah, just have fun with it, be yourself, and I'd say just take your time to write each application specifically for the job that you're looking for.
Totally.
And if you want to write a cover letter, write a cover letter.
Yeah. If it helps you elaborate on your personality, do it. Susan
Yeah,
loves cover letters.
I do.
Like
I do.
if you're applying to someone like Susan, write a cover letter because as she said, she's mushy. Is that what you said?
Softy. Yeah.
Softy. Same thing.
Um, Liam, any thoughts on like writing people on LinkedIn after you've applied for a job?
You can definitely do that. Be courteous and don't expect a response. Especially if you're messaging HR people, they're very busy. So if you're looking for a status update, they likely won't give it to you over LinkedIn. But if you just want to say, hey, I just applied for this job, really excited about it, would love the chance to talk more. Thank you so much for your consideration. Send that message. Don't expect a reply. And the question in the chat, should I include a portfolio? If you're proud of that portfolio and you're going to reference it in your resume, yeah, be sure to include it and make sure the projects you have in there are unique. And should you get to an interview situation, you can talk more about them. Samael?
Yep. Uh, yes, so I understand, like, yes, this is a lot of information to take in, but like Susan and Liam said, like, have fun with it. Don't think about it too much. You'll be learning a lot more as you keep going ahead. And just keep it relevant, keep it simple, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, and I imagine most of us are not like Timothy in the chat who said, I love talking about how awesome I am. I know for me, probably Susan and Samael, I find it hard to do these things. It's like brag about yourself and do it in a way that is creative and unique and interesting and isn't boring and soul sucking and disingenuous. So as Susan and Samael said, take your time. You're going to learn a lot and reach out anytime for advice.
Yeah, if you want to send us, I mean, you can say I'm going to open it up for me and Samael. Liam's probably I'll engage Liam if we need him. But if you want to send your resume and say like, hey, Susan Samael, Sandoz Duke, can you take a look at this and see if it looks good? That's what we're here for, right? So we're here to help you improve. And if you want to write a cover letter, if you want to write your resume with somebody, that's what we're here for this program. So feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your time, Liam and Susan and Saunders and Duke. Uh, uh, Thank you, all the students, for coming in. Hopefully, now you know a bit more about resumes and some of the stuff going around resumes. And I wish you good luck as you go ahead in life. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody. Have a great
Samael.
day.
Thanks for having me. And thanks everyone for joining on.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Mhm. Bye. Thanks, Robin.
No problem. Have a nice day.
You too.
Okay. See ya.
Oh, how's that? How's the laptop?
Oh, the laptop's great. Yeah, it's working really well. Also, I'm able to download a lot more stuff onto it than my Chromebook. But thank you so much for like giving this to me. It'll be back in good shape once you see it again.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
No problem.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Good job. Woohoo.
That pooped. So,
What?
no, like, I think that pooped, like, didn't go as well.
What? That was amazing.
I feel like I couldn't follow the structure.
No, I thought that was awesome.
Liam is coming in. Just give me
Yes.
a moment. Yeah, I'll be on loudspeaker.
Okay.
Uh,
The mail just said that pooped.
I
I don't think so.
more
I
on
think that
like
was awesome.
how to put like the fun in the middle because I keep talking like a university lecturer. That's the last thing I want to be like. I hated those professors. Now I'm turning into those ones. Right? You know?
It's harder than it looks is
Thank you
the
so much.
answer.
Thank you so much, you too. Like
You
for
did
first of
great.
all for cheering me up and for supporting me like to the back. This is the first time I have done something like this. Uh, First time as in like in an online aspect with all the smart students and also in English. So
Yeah.
so that was a bit